of our workshop for the Board of County Commissioners. So, looks like we have staff in front of us, and this is going to be, who's going to be the chairperson of this staff? Ms. Carroll? Everybody's pointing over to you.
There we go.
Hi. It looks like it's you by default. Acclamation. So definitely, you can proceed when you're ready. Thank you. And since it's a workshop, we may cut in at certain areas or wait to the end, depending on how the commissioners want. All right, Ms. Carroll, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Whitney Carroll, the Executive Director for the Planning, Zoning, and Building Department, and we are here to present to you the FEMA firm map update for a workshop item. And with me today, we have Paul Linton with the Water Resources Director, Jackie Anderson, our floodplain manager, or one of our floodplain reviewers, and then Doug Weiss, the building official and floodplain manager, and Patrick Redder, Deputy County Administrator. So I'm going to actually just turn it over to Doug to get us started and do the summary of what we'll be hearing today in the presentation.
Thank you. Mr. Weiss, you're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners. We have a number of guests here distinguished, too, also to answer questions, if questions arise. We have the Lake Worth Drainage District Executive Director, Tommy Stroud. We have Earl King from CRS Max. He's an expert in the CRS program. We have Annette Benning? Denise Benning, I'm sorry. She's an assurance.
Denise Boning.
Yeah, to the movie star. No, not.
Benning would be nice, but
Denise Boning.
better.
She's an insurance person, and she's also the treasurer of the Floodplain Managers of Florida Association.
Florida Floodplain Managers, yes.
Florida Floodplain Managers, sorry.
Very good.
And our insurance guy is back there. Did he leave? He's in the front.
Oh, no.
I don't see him. I think he's gone. So we also...
Denise can speak to insurance.
Yeah, and Denise can speak to insurance issues. We also lost some of our people because we didn't realize we were going to be this late in the day. We had Dr. Fred Bletcher from FAU School of Engineering was here for the morning, and he was going to speak regarding the watershed management plan, the grant program that we're working on. A lot of moving parts on this. And yeah, we had Robert Norberg from FAIA, the Florida Association of Insurance Agents. And then obviously we have Mary Blakeney and Stephanie,
We good?
I can never say her
So-
name.
I-
Shaneha. I don't know how to say that name right.
It's all right.
And I
We
have
know
Jeff
exactly.
Gromberg, my engineer, is here too. And obviously Paul Linton, you know him. So let me go through the objective of what we're trying to do here. Paul will provide an update on what happened with the appeal, update on the map appeal, and the scientific resolution panel. We're going through, who's got the clicker? You want to click to the next one? There you go. So we're gonna provide benefits of participation and et cetera, talk about our previous mapping efforts, give an update. I mean, this is old story stuff. We're seeking input and requesting guidance from the commission on what our next steps on, particularly the new maps require us to update Article 18. It's kind of fundamental. Next slide, please. You know, what is a floodplain? This is kind of a simple question, but we have a lot of different kinds here. You going to do this?
You're talking, go ahead.
Okay, well, okay, so we have special flood hazard areas that are designated on the FEMA maps. We don't control the FEMA maps. They're created by FEMA and their consultants. We also have flood hazard areas which the county has declared through Article 18, which are areas outside engineered subdivisions. So we have a number of engineered subdivisions where they get a permit from Scott Cantor, and I probably didn't introduce Scott. He's another important guest, but he can talk about how we permit those areas and how the stormwater is maintained within those communities. It's a little bit different than what happens in places like the Acreage or Jupiter Farms. So those are the flood hazard areas. Next slide. The program is developed through the Code of Federal Regulations. We don't have any choice on that. I personally was involved in an effort to go back to try and get the federal, the federal delegation to try and change provisions in 44 CFR 60 and 60.3, particularly dealing with the floodplain managers were pushing for a change to allow bathrooms in coastal flood areas. And because the way the language is written today, they're making people basically do these elevated structures with stairways. And we went through that for 10 years, and we were unable to make any headway. So this program is completely about that. What does it do? It provides unavailable flood insurance for property owners in flood-prone areas. It requires the purchase of flood insurance as a condition of receiving disaster assistance or acquisition for construction purposes. So if you want a federally backed loan in Palm Beach County, we have to be signatory to the program. And it's an optional program. We don't have to do the National Flood Insurance Program. We opt out, but we're going to lose the ability to get federally backed mortgages. Grants, disaster assistance, all these things are tied in it. These are the provisions. They're highlighted. The bolded text will tell you the areas we're talking about. I don't want to read every word, but the point of the program is we have identified special flood hazard areas on the map. We're obligated to enforce them. The minimum NFIP stuff in 44 CFR, substantial improvement is a key term. We deal with that all the time. People come in, and this map, we're going to talk a little bit about what that means with this map update, but when people come in to basically get a permit to improve their home, or add a second floor, or put an addition on their home, the point is, if they're in a special flood hazard area, it could trigger a substantial improvement, and that triggers compliance with the National Flood Insurance requirements. Substantial damage is another thing that we're talking about a lot lately. Mary and I have been having conversations about making sure that we're compliant on that if there's a disaster like what happened on the West Coast recently with the flooding event. After an event like that, the county is responsible to go out and do damage assessment. And it's beyond that, it's substantial damage determinations. So, I mean, these are our local responsibilities, 44 CFR 60.3. It's all 60.3. I'm not going to read you all that, but it is coming directly out of the Code of Federal Regulations. That's part of the reason that the Florida Building Commission basically adopted language in the building code on the last 3 updates to include the floodplain requirements. So I don't need to read you all that stuff there. Let's go on to we've got a lot of slides to cover here. Why do we do this? I think this is a key question, and everybody needs to understand that. You look at that slide. Go one more slide, please. Okay. You look at that picture. You got 3 houses side by side. This is a real house. This came out of the Hurricane Ian MAT report, which is a mitigation assessment team report. Their findings were pretty clear-cut. The 1973 house on the right had over 7 feet of water in the house. The 1990 house on the left had like 6 inches of water in the house. And the 2006 house had no water in the house, had water in the lowest floor. But if you see, it's a garage, so it doesn't count, and it can have flood vents. And if you looked really carefully, zoom in on that picture, you'll see flood vents in the door. So what they found was it was the buildings that were built to the new flood requirements survived. People went back to work, and businesses were resilient. I mean, we talk about resilience. I think our resilience people are here as well. We want to make sure the community is resilient. We want to make sure that people can go back to work. They can stay in their homes. That's why we participate. And the numbers on the next slide talk about what happened. These are directly out of Ian, or by decade. So you look at buildings built pre-1980, the claims were much higher. Post-2010, a lot lower. So the new building codes are working. Okay, now, Ms. Anderson.
Let's just talk a little bit about
I'm going to ask you to get closer to the microphone.
a little bit about insurance and our CRS overview. These numbers are coming from FEMA. In 2022, when Risk Rating 2.0 was first implemented, you can see that in Palm Beach County, even though our rates are much lower than the other counties that are listed here, the insurance costs doubled. under risk rating 2.0. Because it's no longer based on the flood insurance rate maps, it's based on individual risk for those properties. Our CRS discount that we have as we participate in CRS becomes more important. We mentioned this before in our previous presentation to the board, that what we were hoping to do was to continue as a Class 5. As Class 5, we're currently receiving a 25% discount on insurance, and we would like to maintain that Class 5 and possibly improve to a Class 4, which would qualify us for our residents for a 30% discount, up to a 30% discount. CRS is a voluntary program, and the purpose of the program is to encourage communities to become more resilient, to not just enforce the NFIP, but higher standards that are going to make buildings, as Doug already mentioned, safer, less prone to flood damage, and also it would help us to thank you, speed up recovery. These are just a few slides of where we are. CRS there's a couple of things. You have a point range that you have to meet, and then you also have certain prerequisites that have to be met. One of those prerequisites is the watershed management plan. I'm going to skip over the slide that talks about the insurance ratings, only because these discounts, that was under risk rating 1.0. And so these numbers are not accurate any longer because of risk rating 2.0 and the way that the risks are being determined. The premiums are being determined under risk rating 2.0. So this doesn't necessarily reflect how much savings are that we're receiving right now. So I'll just skip right on over that. But we mentioned this before, risk rating no longer uses the flood insurance rate maps. It looks at proximity to a flooding source, the elevation of the structure. It looks at the age of the structure. So you could have two structures that are in the same location, but if the one is older, the premium is going to be a little bit lower than one that's newer because it's looking at replacement cost. And if I'm misspeaking, we have two insurance agents that can correct me. We're going to skip over the glide path as well because that's no longer appropriate. Well, it's very important that any citizens that don't have flood insurance already, that they get the flood insurance before the maps are take effect. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yes, it's important that they get the flood insurance now. First of all, because there's a 30-day waiting period. So anybody who is planning to...
Vice Mayor Marino.
I'm sorry?
Vice Mayor Marino.
How are they made aware that this is something that they need to do?
We intend to have outreaches to discuss, or we're going to be doing flood zone lookups. We're going to have a press release.
Yeah, FEMA already did the outreach on these maps in March of 2020, so from their perspective, they think they're done.
4
I
years
don't
ago,
think
it's better
that's
to do it.
acceptable. And otherwise, our concern, and everybody here is very concerned about it, is the first time a homeowner is going to know about it is when they get a letter from their bank.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what, homeowner? You got to have flood insurance within 30 days. Hurry up. And that's what happens. If it's a federally backed mortgage, the bank will send a notice. FEMA's not going to send notices to individual owners, but we're going to do outreach events. We've already spoken with Richard Radcliffe. You know, the League of Cities is working on that. We're going to host at least 3 outreach events. It was disappointing. March 2020, we literally had 10 people come in. We were at the
Maybe
Mary
20.
McDonald Wilson Center downtown, just down the road, and it was like hardly anybody came. It was pretty sad. So, no, we're going to do outreach. We're building, Regina, our GIS folks are building an application where you can put in your address, which will simplify, here's what you are, here's what you're going to be. And we'll talk a little more about how it happened. It's not everybody. It's only 52 panels, but the people along the coast. And we have this in the PowerPoint.
Right.
And if I may, the risk rating 2.0 has been put in place, and those higher rates have been established. If you're an existing owner, you're on this path of 18% a year to get to that upper level. So you want to keep insured. We want to tell people you don't want your insurance lapse, otherwise you'll jump all the way up to the full amount. The new policies, we're not sure on whether or not they'll get the lower rate and then be protected by the 18%, or if the insurance companies will start with a higher rate. That's just really not for us to know at this time. My guess is they would bump them up because they're in the business of knowing the risk.
And I was going to say, it's not like the insurance company is going to contact them and say, oh, by the way, here's a way you can have an advantage now. So we need to do our best in getting the word out so folks are not surprised when they get their insurance bill.
And the other aspect is we want to make sure that everyone is aware that you should get a flood insurance even if you're not in the special flood hazard area, because Ian showed a lot of houses were outside the special flood hazard and they had damage, and those rates are relatively low, and otherwise your windstorm will not cover that.
Should we not, do we have this on our county website?
It is, we're developing that. We're going to create the links. We're looking for the tool, so we're trying to get the tool developed by GIS where you can just go there, click on it, and find out what your property is. So it's not quite ready for prime time, but it should be there any day.
And so we're looking at 30 days.
In the next 30 days, yes, absolutely.
Very good. And should not the banks who hold these mortgages, aren't they the first line of contact with their property owners to contact with them?
Yes, I would presume so. I don't know that we have a mailing going out to banks. We go out to realtors and we go to insurance agents. We have mailings to those folks.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir.
We have insurance people.
Lenders, we do send to lenders.
Okay, hi, you can go ahead, proceed. Thank you.
Repetitive loss areas, those are structures that have had losses of more than $1,000 in the last 10-year period, and so that can be a cumulative 10-year period. Palm Beach County has 62 repetitive loss areas that are both in and outside of the special flood hazard area, and a letter is sent out from the Division of Emergency Management to those property owners in those areas, letting them know that this is an area that's been identified as a repetitive loss area, and giving them some guidance on how to protect their homes.
And those are done annually, right?
Yes. Annually. Some of the services that we provide to our residents in Palm Beach County are flood zone determinations, copies of elevation certificates, flood hazard mitigation advice, retrofit advice. We also review letters of map change that would be going to FEMA. We require those for any lots over 5 acres or subdivisions that are more than 50 lots. We already require, if it's a special flood hazard area, that they submit to FEMA to have the map revised based on the changes in topography or the implementation of a stormwater management system. We also do community outreach through our CRS users group meetings, various associations. We presented just a couple of months ago to the Realtors Association, in industry groups as well, to educate our residents. In January of 2023, we entered into a contract, Palm Beach County entered into a contract with CRS Max, this is a CRS consultant, and the primary purpose of that was that they would be able to identify areas in the CRS program that we could potentially gain more points as far as the activities that could be done to get more insurance discounts for our property owners.
Yeah, and it should be noted that Earl King is in the room, sitting back there. And the other part of what they can do is they can identify areas where we're not taking credit for things we're already doing, which is often the case. So there can be low-hanging fruit. I'm sorry, keep going.
A little bit later in the presentation, we will talk a little about our ask. We're going to be asking for input from you as the direction that Palm Beach County should take regarding the CRS program, and we'll talk about some of the things that are already in process that we have not yet received points, but we will be receiving some type of points for. But
Thank you so much. I'd like to recognize Commissioner Baxter at this time.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have a list that has the consultant we hired provided a list of things that, potentials for reducing rates? Like a
Yes, ma'am.
complete list, not just,
A
We-
complete list would be a major undertaking because the book it's thousands, hundreds of pages. And how many activities?
Sir, would you step up to the podium, please? Mr. Weiss, would you have Mr. Weiss, have him come up, please, to be recognized. Sir, if you could state your name and your position. Thank you.
My
Good
name is
afternoon.
Earl King. I'm with CRS Max Consultants, Vice President, and there are 19 activities in the CRS Coordinator's Manual, and as Jackie said, it's hundreds of pages. We have gone through each activity and gave some points that we thought would be achievable. We feel pretty confident will be achievable. And there are more points besides that we're going to be going after. But this chart will be shown later in this presentation.
a follow-up, Mayor.
Very good. Go right ahead.
Those 19 activities that you're saying are hundreds of pages, I'm assuming that would be recommendations of how to implement them, or is each activity, I mean, is there not a short version of each activity?
There's not a very short version. That's it. It's the large manual, and it includes the activities, and there are a lot of elements and sub-elements within those activities.
And do we have a copy of that?
Yes.
Has it been sent to the commissioners?
That copy, it's available
No,
online.
we have not sent it out, but we can send it out. It's a link.
You want the
It's called the
CRS manual?
CRS Users Manual.
Oh, okay. I can send the CRS user's manual, a
Well,
link
they-
to that.
Is that the study that was done with the 19 activities?
It is not a study. It is,
Well, excuse me, we hired the consultant, right? That it says here, to achieve a higher CRS score resulting. So I'm assuming we're taking recommendations on how to achieve a higher score. Okay, so however we want to call that, somebody looked into information. Have we received that information?
we have placed it in this PowerPoint presentation, the recommendations that we received from CRS Max of potential areas that we can implement to, and that's what we're going to be seeking input. So it's in your presentation.
And is it all of them or just the ones?
Just the ones that were recommended, because each activity, those 19 activities, there's sub-elements, and each of those sub-elements, elements and sub-elements have point ranges. So we provided the recommendations that CRS Max, but we can provide you a link to the entire manual if you would like that, and you can go through, because it is hundreds of pages.
Yeah, and a little further on, you'll see a chart which shows our current scores and what the things we're getting credit for, so you'll see kind of where we're going. And that's what the ask is. We're here asking, where do we want to go? Because we've got to go back and craft whatever we decide to do, whatever the commissioners tell us to do, we're going to have to basically go back and write it into Article 18 so it's codified. Because you don't get points if it's not codified in the ordinance.
Well, forgive me, how are we going to tell you what to do if we don't have all the information? We only have what you're then suggesting?
We're trying to get there, but we're happy. I can send out the link for that. Article 18 will be coming back in a few months. It's not here today. This is just seeking guidance, talking about what's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. All right, you can proceed.
Am I going? Okay, historically, you guys can see, we had 1982. When I got here in 2013 at Palm Beach County, we had, did I lose it? Oh, here it is, historical regulations. So as I stated previously, we've had flood damage prevention regulations since 1957 in the county, and I would say by and large, they have served the county well. You see the insurance premiums, either in an earlier slide or a later slide, you'll see the premiums are lower in Palm Beach County than they are in our surrounding communities. We've done a good job. South Florida Water Management has done a great job. Lake Worth Drainage District is here. So here was the original map when I got here in 2013. You'll see the pink areas, kind of hard to tell. The pink areas are basically AO zones. What's an AO zone? AO is a sheet flow area where the water transitions across the land to another place. The problem is the AO zones were based on really old data. The topography was ancient. It was not studied even really very very much in 1979 when the study was done that created these maps. So 2017, FEMA came to town. Some of you will remember this. They came and they were rolling out new maps. They asked for people to provide data and assistance. I don't know who's in the room would remember that. Patrick certainly would remember that. Maybe some members of the commission will remember that. But they came to town and they're proposing new maps. We were able to work with FEMA. You guys we had a legislative delegation, went to Washington, talked to them to get the maps fixed, and we made some successes. So there were 33,000 parcels that remained in a special flood hazard area, but there were 48,000 removed. And 48,000 moved in. And part of the problem was specifically, and we're going to talk about it in a few minutes, Paul's going to talk about it, the areas around Lake Okeechobee were all mapped into the special flood hazard area. We were somewhat successful if you looked at South County in that there were a bunch of AO zones. If you see the next slide, see the orange areas on the left, those were all sheet flow areas where the water was just sheet flowing across all those right-of-ways. And the reality is that isn't really a realistic model. There was stormwater improvements put into there, and they weren't reflected on the maps. So we were able to get a lot of the maps fixed in South County in 2017. So now, Mr. Lynn's going to tell us a little bit about the, you want to talk about the coastal study?
Let's do lakes first, okay? So this is Lake Okeechobee.
Get it?
As you recall,
Oh, there it is, I'm sorry. I missed
about a decade ago back, the Corps examined the Lake Okeechobee and found that it was not in good state. It was classified as a high-risk dam, DSAC 2, and they embarked upon multiple studies and then finally authorized and spent about $1.6 billion rehabilitating the dike and the structures. They have completed that work, and that has changed the condition around. So this next slide, you can see the different areas. Back up. Okay. Where are we at? There you go. All right. So this map reflects the breach study they did. So all those different zones that are around that, the colored areas are flooding areas with water several feet to even 8 feet deep. And as you can see, that the east side of that is all the areas around, the municipalities around Lake Okeechobee and extending well into the agricultural fields. That put them all in a different flood level and raised their base flood elevation several feet. Post the Herbert Hoover repairs, that risk no longer is there. So it's now a low hazard dam. Corps has certified it with a letter. They sent that letter to FEMA. FEMA has accepted that letter and has put the new maps in their list to do, but they have a long list of maps to regenerate. So we're looking at an extended period of time before they would get to those maps. And until that happens, none of those parcels get any benefit in terms of reduced insurance rate or base flood elevations.
Okay, and so part of the discussion we started on is the coastal study. So when they rolled out the 2017 map update, FEMA admitted that they didn't study the coast at all. They were coming back. They did they analyzed the coastal dunes along the whole county. So we did a little bit of surveying, and they did transects, which are sections of the dune profile along the coastline. And using that, they basically drew a line on the inside, what they call the heel side of the primary frontal dune. As a result of that, many areas along the beach and along the coast went into VE10 special flood hazard areas, which are velocity zones and it's high hazard areas. So they notified us with a letter. Here's where they came back and they said, we're restudying. So in 2019, they released the new panels. So these are new maps. They're done. These were the ones we appealed. I think you guys saw this once before when we talked about authorization to go to an appeal. And they released these maps. So we went through the appeal study on that, and Paul can talk about that. Mm-hmm. But the new maps are out, and one of the features they carry is a thing called a LMWA, which is the limit of moderate wave action. And I'm going to say there's a typo in here. It says 3 foot. But the correct answer is it should be 1.5 foot, where the wave action gets to 1.5 feet. And the idea is the foundations on those structures need to be protected against scour. And it's not, this is kind of not a good example. There are other examples, and if you look at downtown West Palm Beach, you look at St. Mary's Hospital, the limb walk comes around the hospital. And there's some condos in downtown West Palm that are problematic, right on the intercoastal. So, Paul, you want to talk, this is Paul's slide.
Okay. So as we had previously briefed you, some of you on, the result of the study showed that the hurricane that had wind from the north to the south was raising waters in the south end of the lagoon several feet. And you can see from the bars, we had several thousand parcels that had rises of 2 to 4 feet. And we believe that that modeling was anomalous. We think there is some rise there that would happen, but not that magnitude, and we went through that process to appeal it. We had 3 months to redo the maps, and we weren't able to do that. And then finally, we went to the Scientific Revolution panel, and we presented our information. While the panel agreed that there were some technical issues that were of concern, the requirements of the rule in the appeal process and in the resolution process is that you find the problem, you fix the problem, and then you regenerate the maps. We did not do the last two, so our resolution was, our appeal and our request for resolution was denied, and that triggered them to move forward with their maps. This has been a several-year process. I'm not going to go reading through all the history, but probably 4 years to get to this point. We just received late last month, the letter of final determination, which starts the clock, and then 6 months later in December, the maps become effective, and at that point, we have to have our Article 18 and everything else updated. It has to be done before that time period, and clearly we need to communicate the change and people's options so that they are aware of them and can take action as appropriate before that change.
Okay, so as part of, we discussed a little bit, we entered into a grant with the FAU School of Engineering as a subcontractor. We got a grant from Florida Department of Emergency Management for Watershed Management Plan, $200,000, that's ongoing. The work is substantially done. Dr. Bletcher was here to update you guys, but he had to leave. I apologize, he had a class this afternoon, so he couldn't stay all day. But basically, we discussed it a little bit this afternoon, or this morning, and it's ready to go. We've submitted the draft to the technical reviewer for ISO Verisk, who works for FEMA, and they're going to look at it. I've got to follow up with them probably today or tomorrow and follow up what the status of the review is. Going to have to poke the bear on that one. But it is a prerequisite if we're going to go higher in discounts for the community to have a watershed management plan. And, it's a good thing to do because it gives you a vision of what's out there. It's pretty intense. It's like 900 pages of graphics and modeling on what happens. If you look at the map, let me get to the next one. This talks about what they're looking at, and he studied the whole county. Now, it's not sufficient technical clarity of a study to do new maps, but it is sufficient to show where are our problem areas and what do we have to deal with and what should we be looking at. And that's the intent of it. Paul, what's the better analogy between the watershed management, more like a comprehensive plan versus a zoning code? I think it's the difference.
Yeah, it's a high level, identify your areas of concern, not a master plan where you go and say, here are your concerns, and here are the possible ways to fix it, and here are the costs. So it's definitely a level up. We're going to get some additional information on the vulnerability assessment and wrap from the resolution, which will go in more detail and provide some examples. But right now, the purpose of this is to identify so that the county is aware of where there are issues, both currently and in the future with other factors.
So now we're kind of at the ask. Is that going to be you, Paul? You want me to talk
Sure,
about
I'll
it?
go. So in this mapping process, you have two paths you can take. You can put an application in to change the maps, and you basically go through a process like a permitting process. You submit it, They come back with either requests or denials, and you go through a process that's very much an on-off, back and forth. There's another path where you become a cooperative technical partner, and they come and they help you with the scope and review your scope and help you develop a plan continuously along the process so that you hopefully don't have as many points where you go backwards, and you're more efficient on your scoping for your consultant and on getting the product in there. That has the advantage to the county of you have more control over the areas that are done, which is done first, and you bring that technical local knowledge to the table, which is very important because we know the structures, we know some of the problem areas, and we know some of the fixes that are in the ballpark. So that's the advantage to us. The advantage to FEMA is that you're doing the work and they take it off their plate. And so they don't have to do it. So that's clearly their advantage to them. But our advantage is also by taking it on our plate, we get it done a lot sooner than waiting for it to go through their process and for them to get to our area. And then this bullet list, the previous bullet list, basically hit some of the details about they offer training, other stuff when you're in that cooperative program that's helpful too. And this one basically describes that physical map revision where you go through that process of submitting and having them review it and how many times it takes. And at the bottom line, you can see it takes 6 years by the time you go back and forth. You go through all those submittals to get to there. Another note here is that we have got an estimate for all those big basins you saw throughout the county of about $7 million. But here's our ask slide.
Sorry, I got to go back.
Yeah. Which one? I'm going to go next one. Keep more. Yeah, this one. So I'll go through these. So the coastal areas are the ones where we appealed and where we think there's and then something needs to be corrected, basically, in that. And we believe that it's worth the investment to have a consultant dig into that model and find the problem and then rerun the model and see the results. So if that model is rerun and we see those base flood elevations drop several feet, it's worthwhile for the residents in terms of the benefit, in terms of the flood insurance and the changes required to comply with the base flood elevation to regenerate those maps. But there will be a point where we'll either know that the change is worthwhile or that it's not worthwhile, and we would not redo the maps if there was only a minor change in between their model and our model. So that's the first ask, where it's that first phase is the 500,000, and then if that's successful and the maps are, the water levels estimated by the model are considerably lower, then we would move forward with the $2 million for the mapping. In this map, that is the very thin little yellow area along Lake Worth Lagoon of all the tidal basins that are affected by the Atlantic Ocean. Let's back up. Then we have the urban areas, and that is basically the areas between the conservation area and the coast. Those are those big C51, C17, C18, C16, C15 basins that make up the majority of the urban area. Those have not had a detailed mapping since like 1970. We've had a few local little efforts that, as Doug said, that helped us remove a lot of areas from that, but we want to recommend remapping those over several year period. And what triggers this is the South Florida Management District is in the process of developing a model for each of those basins to evaluate their structures for sea level rise. So they are going to do the heavy lifting in terms of constructing and calibrating the sophisticated models necessary to model those basins to the level needed to map. What we would do is hire a consultant to take that model and then work upstream with the details necessary to define map basins. And that's the middle bullet where we're asking for the 1.5 million to start that process and work our way through those basins. We'd be working from south to north because that's the order that the South Florida District is proceeding. And then here's the other one, that we started with a conversation about the Herbert Hoover Dike. All those municipalities and areas around the lake will not see their maps updated for probably well over 10 years. We're recommending that we do a mapping effort. Now that there's no breach risk, it's a pretty straightforward modeling of rainfall hitting the basin, the soil storage available. We have LiDAR to give us the topo, and we know the local interests in terms of the drainage basin, so we feel it's a pretty straightforward modeling effort, and we estimate that's about $500,000 to do all those areas and redo those maps. And that's all those municipalities around the lake, not the farm fields further east, but the municipalities and the surrounding structures and plants and stuff.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. I'm guessing Commissioner Baxter's going to have, has the same question. On page 50, you say a total of $7 million for 6 years, but the numbers on 52 don't seem to add up. So can you break out, I mean, like on the first bullet, it's 2 million, but you also have a 500,000. Is that 500,000 part of the 2 million? On the second bullet, you have a breakout of 500, another breakout of 1.5 million, and then it says the remaining areas would require approximately 5 million. And then on the last bullet, you have 500,000. So where does the 7 million come from? I realize it's over 6 years, so we could probably, it's not going to be out of one fiscal year budget. It'll be a running total over a couple of years. But these numbers and the 7 million on the page before, can you explain?
I apologize for lack of clarity on that. We asked the consultant to give us a price for those South Florida Watermanagement District basins, the central area, and that was a 7 million, and that's what in the middle bullet adds up to the 7 million. The 2 million up front, followed by the 5 million, adds up to 7. We excluded out the coastal areas because it's a different model. It's a much more complex model. It wasn't the same, wouldn't be the same consultant, and we excluded the areas around lake because we already had an estimate for that. So we had just asked them for 7, but we didn't tell a very clear story there.
Okay, so the coastal areas, then, the $2 million ask here has already been taken care of? I'm confused.
FEMA's done the modeling. They're content with their maps. This would be us redoing that work to try to change those maps.
So it's an additional $2 million over the 7 million?
Yes, it would be.
Okay. And then on the third bullet, which is another 500,000, is an addition. So we're actually talking 9.5 million?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Vice Mayor. Commissioner Baxter, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor. For clarification, you had come to us for approval to purchase some sort of equipment to do our own maps. Where does that stand? Because you said that this was months ago now, so forgive me, but the board approved you to purchase something so we could do our own mapping.
That's the LiDAR, the laser from a plane that basically gives us the topo. So that's a separate effort. Multiple parties use that information for everything from appraisals to assessing flooding areas for emergency evacuation. That is already being paid for and is budgeted for separately. These budgets assume that work has been done.
I guess what I'm saying is this is piling on, so I'm wondering, how do they work together? Is that something that could help with this effort? I mean,
Yes.
9.5 million on, another study and more information, but where is this headed?
The LiDAR is beneficial. It's a service. It's not equipment. We're not buying an airplane, and we're not
Okay,
buying
so-
lasers. We're buying a service which they will provide elevation data. It's useful for a lot of purposes. It's useful for other agencies. Land development can use it. Engineering can use it. I think Resilience has requested LiDAR. They're working on their own resiliency thing, and there may be in there. So it's shared with the communities. Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't this sold to us as the ability to do our own flood mapping?
Well, that would be my fondest wish, that we need to do our own flood mapping, but you have to tell me that's okay. I think that's the ask, part of the ask.
We need the topo information to do the mapping. It's required. And this is the most efficient way to do it because it's a large area. You could go out there with an on-the-ground survey crew, but it would be much more expensive. The LiDAR is of sufficient resolution for us to do the work we need to do.
And so this modeling, this new tranche of money you want to spend, how is it different?
It's setting up and evaluating models, like hydraulic models, using that topo.
So simulating a flood or simulating models that would show what would happen in case of
So you take the
you know.
100-year storm, you drop it, the model says, okay, I've got this topo, water's going to try to run over here. You've also got these canals taking the water out. It handles all those simultaneously.
So now let's assume we spend this 9.5 million. What are we going to do with all that information?
Well, we'll do two things. We'll do the remapping, and then we'll also identify areas we have problems and then we can use those models to evaluate solutions to that.
It just sounds like a lot of mapping on top of mapping on top of mapping, but
One thing to consider, Commissioners, the efforts are there to, at the end of the day, deliver new evaluated maps so the homeowners can get relief on their insurance. In the western communities, going back to the Lake O on the dike, it's been built, it's been certified. As Paul said, they handed over the certification. FEMA said, thank you, we'll get to it when we can. We're trying to expedite that, pull it up, so the value of the dike being complete and constructed can be realized much sooner than waiting for FEMA to evaluate it.
Yeah, and I think there's another added benefit. If you take control of your own mapping, like for example, Miami-Dade is a cooperating technical partner. They have been for the 35 years that I've been in this business in South Florida, they've been a cooperating technical partner with FEMA. And the point is, with that program, they control their own maps. Doesn't mean that they just take everybody out of the flood zone. It just means the risk is accurate, and they're using local knowledge and local skills. They pull everything together to get the stuff, the information they need. One of the things that I was talking about a little while ago with Dr. Bletcher before he left, and his watershed management plan, one of the asks that FEMA came back with as a correction, the FEMA consultant wanted, was more structure detail on GIS. Well, the problem is we have 17 water management districts in Palm Beach County. Now, the largest one is sitting back there. I'm going to acknowledge him, but there was like others around. And the point is, they all have their own structural data. You got to pull it from multiple sources.
And just, forgive me, to clarify, so you're saying that we're doing this because FEMA hasn't taken a look at what's already there or existing, or hasn't expedited that fast enough? And to finish that point, aren't we saying this will take a minimum of 6 years?
I think it's an ongoing effort. We have to see whether we can do the cooperating technical partner, or we do the physical map revision. Obviously, the preference is the cooperating technical partner, because the physical map revision, I don't want to say it becomes adversarial, but when you're a FEMA consultant doing a review of a submittal, you get paid by the hour. Let me just say that. So that lends to, the more I reject it, the more I get paid. And I'm not saying that's a deliberate thing. That's an unintended consequences. There are always unintended consequences. But the point is, if we can get the maps into our control locally, and it's not me, it's going to be whatever the hydrology says, whatever the hydraulic analysis do. You need the topography to get accurate maps. The 1982 maps I put up there on the slide earlier were for a reason. You could see how inaccurately they reflected the topography of Palm Beach County in 1982. I mean, so that's the point. We need to get accurate maps. We're still not convinced. The coastal study, we had areas of the coast in the intercoastal on the Lake Worth Lagoon, on that slide he showed, that went up 5 feet. Storm surge went up 5 feet. Yet on the coastline, on the outside the barrier, we had places that were taken out of V10 that went to X.
Follow
Some
up,
of
Mayor.
it doesn't make sense.
So,
No, this workshop, go right
so
ahead.
all the topographies, the LiDAR, this study, everything put together, what are we going to do with the information?
We're
Are
going
we
to,
are we submitting again to FEMA to redo it? What is the goal process? Please lay it out for me, step by step.
the PMR is an automatic give. Anybody can do a PMR, physical map revision. It's expensive, but we can do that. And if we have a map that we've developed with a consultant, we'll go through that process. But the better option is to try and get approved as a cooperating technical partner. If we can do that, we can work together with FEMA so it's not so adversarial. So one of those two things are happening, but if you approve this, we will go forward with maps. We will submit maps, and hopefully they'll be the most accurate maps we've ever seen in Palm Beach County since the beginning of the program in 1979. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
The time frame of 6 years is for the entire, those multiple basins. Clearly, like areas around Lake Okeechobee could be done sooner than that, and they would get the benefits in terms of those rates going down.
So assume we work with them and we become a cooperative technical partner. Am I remembering that correctly?
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
What does that do for us?
It makes it a partnership. It makes it a little bit easier to get through the process. It's not like you're submitting a permit where we're partnering with FEMA to create the maps.
So I'll give you an example. You work with them on the scope for the modeling, and they review the scope before you start doing the work, as opposed to reviewing the work after it's been done and saying, oh, really, you should have done this differently. So now you at that point, there's much less chance of them saying, we reject the product, or we want the product to be improved.
And are we proposing that all projects that come through the county go through this process?
No.
No.
Who would be going through this?
The county would go for these specific areas. Other people who want their individual lot, small projects would have their own application separate. We would not be shepherding those through unless we're directed to.
I'm going to interrupt at this point. And you're very on point in terms of discussing it. Commissioner Woodward would like to answer some of those issues. So this is a workshop. You go right ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. I just would like to interject. I asked a lot of the questions that you had when I had a meeting with them. And as I understood it, these maps, they're coming. FEMA is issuing these maps, whether we like it or not, these maps are coming. And we have options on how we can help our residents, because these maps have very real repercussions to a lot of homeowners in the county that maybe don't deserve to have their rates going to this high. One of the initial conversations with Lake Okeechobee, because the dike has been repaired, it's no longer, everyone's in agreement, even FEMA's in agreement that it shouldn't be labeled. I guess that area shouldn't be labeled the way it is. However, it's gonna sit there for years until FEMA gets to it. Pretty much, they're like, we agree, we'll get to it when we get to it. One of the initial asks with this partnership, and I think that the Lake Owen is probably the best place to start, is for us to become a partner with FEMA. Start with that one, because it's very clear what needs to happen in that area. We're having to hold them to higher building standards. The rates are much higher. Everything that's going on out there, they don't deserve, because the repair work has been done. $1 billion plus project, right, in this area to fix it. It's been done. If we become a partner with FEMA, do a good job with this map, which we're going to because the work's been done, that is opening the door for us, again, to continue that partnership, redraw these maps in the other areas where everything south of the Lake Worth Lagoon, like the Boynton Inlet, has come into question. They're not considering the work that's done with Lake Worth Drainage District. All of that stuff's not considered. This is a high-level, federal, looks down, that's gonna flood, and they kind of pass it away. We have the best option with this room full of experts, all of our different districts, to actually make these maps the most accurate so that the rates and the building codes and everything that goes into this will be accurate. We honestly, I believe, are the only ones that can do this. Any local area is going to do a better job than the feds on this, because they have to look at it from such a high level. Us becoming partners, we get to help draw these maps, and all of the residents, all of the businesses, everything in the county will benefit.
And forgive me, I understood all that because I asked a lot of similar questions. That's not what I'm getting at. We're spending a lot of dollars, and I don't see the timing benefit. I mean, 6+ years, a minimum of 6 years. How is this expediting FEMA looking at, you said they get paid hourly, these areas around the dike? How is spending all these extra dollars going to help
Let me be clear.
expedite it?
We asked for a timeline from FEMA, and they said they could not give you a timeline. So when you go through the FEMA process, they'd have to get appropriations, and they have to give them a 5-year plan. It'll probably be the better part of 10 years before they even started.
And if they haven't released the maps, how do we know the detrimental impacts of those maps if we haven't received them yet? And we're trying to kind of solve a problem we haven't seen yet.
The maps for the flood areas are existing. They updated.
Okay, so then
yeah,
which maps are we waiting to get released?
Not waiting for any maps to be released. They update, when the Herbert Hoover dike got classified as a high hazard, they did the breach analysis and showed all those areas flooded, and they said, these are the new maps, they're in effect. And they gave that same 6-month, long time ago. Those people are out there paying premiums right now based upon those higher levels. And they will continue to pay premiums until those maps are updated.
I mean, and just so you know, when we went up to DC for the legislative conference, I actually spoke with the congresswoman of the area of in the middle of the state, to help with this issue, because I'm very well aware of it, because it is my district and the residents are suffering. So I don't want you to think I'm not very well in tune to what is going on here. What I'm saying is, are the dollars worth it? And if so, why? And that's what I was getting at. And I feel I'm a lot more comfortable now than I was at the beginning of this conversation, but I'm still, I mean, we have these topographies. I feel like you sold us the LiDAR service based on updating our flood maps, but now we have one more thing coming to us, updating flood maps. I just don't want this to keep being recurring. And the timeline on this is 6 years from now? To even get any relief for our residents?
The 6 years was the consultant's estimate for that middle area to do it all in a 6-month time, in that permitting type of process, back and forth.
But that was an estimate from one consultant. We're not even at that point right now. The question is, is this something the commission wishes us to undertake? And I think it is important, and I appreciate Commissioner Woodward's comments, because the truth of it is, we want the most accurate maps possible. That's what we want. We want the risk adequately quantified. For the resilience of the community, we want to build stuff so that it will survive.
And I'm not disputing that. I do too. I want the most accurate maps. I'm just saying that's how we were sold on the previous, about updating our maps. No one told us back then that there was going to be another study consultant coming up at a tune of $9.5 million. What I'm saying is, I want to make sure this is it. Are there any more studies, consultants are coming back to us later next year asking us to spend millions of more dollars because this is another way we can do the topography of our area?
No, this is our estimate to do all the areas. We are all talking about the strategy. Our strategy would be to start with something simple like around Lake Okeechobee and take that partnership for a test drive, with the FEMA, if we're a cooperative technical partner, and learn on that relationship before we get in something more complex like the coastal. Clearly, that's kind of your biggest bang for your buck, because there's a lot of parcels out there. It's a very simple study compared to the coastal study, which requires a very complicated modeling. The sequence of the longer sequence with the middle area is because we're going to have to wait for the South Lamar District to complete their models. And so that, we can't do that until we get their models. Otherwise, we'd be building models, and then that would cost more.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Marino. You're recognized.
Thank you. Briefly, if we become a technical partner with FEMA, does it slow down the process of the insurance going up? Because while we were in the appeals period, it was frozen, so nobody's insurance went up. If we take them on, if we become a technical partner with them, does it say, okay, none of the insurance is going to change until all of this is coordinated and finished?
No, unfortunately, no.
No, it won't affect that. And we actually have a couple insurance people. I don't know if you guys want to speak to any of those things.
Well, I mean, basically what we're doing here today is trying to figure this all out so that we can save our taxpayers, our residents, and our businesses and our property owners money in the future. So it's the investment we're making now, and us too, as a county, and our buildings, but it's an investment we're making now, hopefully to have a return on our investment in the future. So that was a question and a statement. Thank you.
Very good, Vice Mayor. It's good to get it all in one. Have a seat, sir, just a second. Whoever's in charge here, would you like to have somebody testify during this workshop?
Did you want to speak to that? We have two insurance experts.
I'm going to leave it up to you.
We
It's
have
your-
the local
it's your-
representative of the FAIA, and we also have, come on up, please, and identify yourself at the podium, please.
if you dare.
Hello, everybody. Robert Norberg, Arden Insurance, native of this area. I'm also on the City of West Palm Beach Floodplain Management Committee, represent FAIA, a lot of different people in this room. The main thing that we're talking about here is helping save money for our consumers. The two things you can do is the long-term partnership deal and helping them get to the better CRS rating. Because if you get to the better CRS rating, you get immediate feedback in the way of premium dollars, so more discounts. And that's going to be the same throughout the county. The CRS rating goes for everybody. Whether they're in a bad map or not, they're going to be getting their discount. So the CRS becomes very, very important. And that's one of the things we're working on at the city as well, to get to a better CRS rating so that you can save money for your consumers. As far as rates, they are set by the federal government, the NFIP. They will continue to escalate. Some people that already have their program, they're in their policy, they will be set to the glide path so that it will take them years to make the actuarial rate. New people coming in will be coming in at the new actuarial rate. Unfortunately, those are very high now. There's a lot of things that changed with risk rating 2.0, and a lot of the maps don't mean much anymore. The risk rating 2.0 says you're either in a high hazard or you're not. So the rates are set based on that information. So the long-term effect is, yeah, the maps are important. The CRS rating, though, takes immediate effect when you get that change. So then everybody, all the consumers say, oh, I'm in the county, they're a CRS rating of 5 or 4 or even better if you can get all the points. That gives you direct premium dollars. And that's all I can say.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Baxter, hold on just one second. Sir, just one second, please.
So you
Sure,
had,
Doctor.
thank you, Mayor. You had said that regardless of the map, the CRS rating will help the rates go down?
Right. The CRS rating is applied throughout that county or municipality. So whatever rating they have, it comes right off the bottom line of the premium dollars.
And and the CRS rating comes from doing the maps?
Well, that's part of the program. But all the steps in the CRS rating program are what gets you the points to put you at a different level. And that's, the mapping is one of the issues, one of the items that they're working on here in the county.
So we're spending all this money on maps. You know, I'm
More
going
of
to
a
leave
long-term thing.
that one alone. Thank you.
Yeah.
That one.
Yeah. Good.
My name's Denise Boning. I'm an associate in the National Flood Insurance Program. I'm also a certified floodplain manager. I am on the executive board of the Florida chapter of the Association of State Floodplain Managers. And I've worked with many communities in the past who have done their own flood maps, have done their own flood insurance studies, because just like you who have been not agreeing with the FEMA maps, believe that they're wrong because they've been interpolated too much. So they have done their own maps. And generally, under the legacy system, yes, insurance. Under risk rating 2.0, it is still good to do because it gives you CRS credit. It falls under the 400 activity series, and 400 activity series is something that you, Commissioner Baxter, are interested in because that is the higher regulatory standards. Those are your ordinances and so forth that give you credit. Your own flood insurance study and doing your own flood maps gives you credit under that category. In terms of flood insurance, yes, the flood maps generally don't really matter in the sense whether on your insurance rate, because you are being, the distance to your flooding source is being measured to determine your rate. However, it does come in with your CRS, your higher standards, you get more discounts on your flood insurance rate, not only from your CRS perspective, but also your construction standards. Are you how many feet? Where is your finished floor above BFE? Gives you a CRS discount. Is your machinery and equipment elevated beyond the finished floor? Gives you a CRS discount. Do you have floodproofing? Do you have flood vents? All those things fall into your flood insurance rate and give you discounts.
Ma'am, I just have a question, and we're going to continue with Commissioner Baxter. Who do you work for?
I work for myself. I'm a consultant.
And why are you here today?
I'm actually representing the Florida Floodplain Managers Association. I do outreach for them, and I was asked by Jackie to present for the Florida Floodplain Managers Association, and if I can be of any help, to promote flood insurance, sound floodplain management in our communities, and educate residents to become more risk averse.
Adverse, right, okay, thank you. Commissioner Baxter?
Thank you, Mayor. So the CRS rating, do they determine or do they say which study has to be done?
I think Earl might be able to talk about that more in detail. For activity 410, I believe, is the mapping.
Mayor Sachs, may I ask one question of Denise?
Yes.
Sure, go right ahead.
Yeah, for the specific case of Lake Okeechobee with the herbivore diet changing, would that affect the rates? Because you were in a high hazard area, a breach, now you're taking that out. I mean, because I know the risk rating 2.0 kind of walks away from the more direct map impacts, but for that specific example, you're talking about a vast change in the risk there.
I don't know. I'd have to look in the particulars. I don't know if you would.
Sir, sir, if you're going to respond, come on up. Identify yourself again for the record, your name.
Robert Norberg. If you move from high hazard to low hazard, obviously that's going to affect the rate right away. But again, that's a longer-term process than getting the full CRS points to get that in play.
Hi. So the CRS points, are they based on which kind of study and how in-depth it is to get those points? Is that kind of laid out in your user manual?
There's a whole activity for mapping. Activity 410 is the activity, and there is very specific instructions on what needs to be done, how you can get credit, and the number of points that you can receive from it.
And what's the maximum number of points?
I do not know offhand.
This is a good segue. We actually have a presentation, has some examples of the points and stuff in it, so
So I will stop asking questions then and let you go on.
Very
maybe
good.
answers a few questions, and we'll certainly have more, but
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Commissioner Weiss and then Commissioner Woodward.
Yeah, there was something mentioned by one of the insurance industry folks regarding the CRS ratings. So does the CRS ratings apply countywide, or are municipalities exempted from that?
They're on a municipal level, so each community has their own CRS rating.
So the activities that we are doing, that you're proposing that we do, are only going to impact unincorporated Palm Beach County?
Technically, no, because water doesn't know where a municipal boundary is.
Correct.
But the municipalities are going to have to piggyback on what we do and try to get credit. CRS is at the community level. Correct. So, but we
is
do.
there anything we can do to facilitate that for them if we're doing all this work?
I think we already are doing that stuff. You know, in Mary and Stephanie's shop, they do what's called the CRS Users Group, and they manage a county-wide consortium of CRS managers from around the county, and they talk about what they're doing. They do joint projects. There is a program of public information, a PPI program that they do, and so there's a lot of things they're doing. Again, I'm not the CRS person. That's in a different shop. I just know it exists, and I have to do certain things.
So, I mean, here's the thing, I'm supportive of investing, but I want to make sure that we're not duplicating things, and if we're going to invest money, because we do collect it countywide, this is something that could be beneficial to our municipal partners, and we want to make sure that we include them as far as I'm concerned anyways, that they're included and are also able to get benefit from it. Now, obviously, the maps are a different story, and the other point I wanted to make was on the work that you're doing in the mapping and the really getting the information accurate. To me, is not only from the insurance savings, but from potentially property and life savings. If people are not informed as to what elevations they're at accurately, they may do things, the building codes won't be right, they will be improper. And I mean, we can replace property, we can rebuild, but we lose people, that's it, they get one shot at this. So to me, it's something that is, we're talking about life, health, and safety, which is the top of, I think, all of our lists of what we're supposed to be doing here. So I think that we can't say enough about that. It's not, and I believe we should be able to get the lowest rates possible, but it's about protecting people.
Just one point of clarity, when they talk about it applies, the discount applies across the whole area, they're talking about it's no different, you get the same discount if you're in the special flood hazard area or an X zone. For that municipality, or in this case, Palm Beach County Incorporated, you get the discount across the entire unincorporated area, regardless if you're in a high-risk zone or a low-risk zone.
So the maps, my understanding is the maps will benefit our municipalities as well. But the CRS, on that side, I think I would like to get more clarification that we're able to have our municipalities become beneficiaries of whatever investment we're making.
Thank you, Commissioner. Ms. Baker?
I wanted to follow up and have Mary talk about how we partner, because we did this decades ago. And so we definitely did like the base, and then we work with our municipalities so that we're not duplicating efforts, and we're working off one base map. And that did move our CRS rating up at that time. We're looking to raise it again. So I want Mary to respond to your inquiry to ensure that we are not duplicating efforts as we go out and do our LiDAR, that the cities will work with us on it. Mary?
Go right ahead, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Mary Blakeney, Emergency Management Director in the Public Safety Department. So we have the CRS coordination that happens within emergency management, and it's truly a coordinated effort countywide. We involve our municipalities as well as several county departments that all come together with information that we submit through the process, and it's very points driven. And when we talk about, can we get all the points? It's very detailed, and it goes through like an audit process, basically. We get audited. And they look at everything from, do we do community outreach, to do we have an alert and warning system within the community? A big part of that data that comes in is the information we get from our planning, zoning, and building department, but it's also things like our engineering department, clearing the maintaining our drainage systems. So it's all the entire countywide process of storm drainage and activities that we do to mitigate and improve our system is how we get these different points and how we get to the different levels. When you were asking about the points in general, for example, the 400 category that they talked about has a maximum of 850 points. I just know that because I have the manual back there, so I was looking when you asked. But it has a maximum of 850 points. But some of those points may not be realistic, because some of those points consider things like if we have a repetitive loss property in Palm Beach County, just say, pick any random home in your community that's repetitive loss. Are we willing to purchase that property and keep it as green space? That's a decision that would have to be made outside, at a different level, absolutely. So, so those are the types of things that get us to where we creep away. I mean, it's literally advocating and fighting for various points through this process. And I think anything that we can do to improve our process for mitigating our community and controlling our floods is important, including having all of our municipal partners involved. We have that CRS users group. Currently today, we have 30 of our 39 municipalities that are CRS communities, along with Palm Beach County. 24 of those, along with the county, get insurance discounts, and the insurance discounts range from 5% off to 25% off. We, for unincorporated Palm Beach County, are the Class 5, so we get 25% off of those policies. But we're always striving for more and more points to get to a better rating for the CRS program.
Excellent.
I hope that helps.
That does. I hope so. Thank you so much. And if you could stay there in case we have any questions, if you don't mind, Mary. Okay, Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you. So my question is, we're talking about two different ways of lowering rates for residents and businesses, the CRS and the MAPS. The CRS gives us a percentage reduction on your policy. Whatever your policy is, if we get it to a 30% reduction, everybody across the board in that CRS gets 30% lower, right? Okay, so my question is, with the MAPS, back to this discussion, getting them changed, like the Lake Okeechobee one, how much of a difference in the actual policy dollar amount are we talking about? Because if you're talking, a $2,000 policy that might drop to, half of that, and then they also get the 30% reduction, how much money are we talking?
Well, there's more to it than just the money. It would be the mandatory purchase requirement. So especially those properties that are located around Lake Okeechobee, because technically their maps are going to change and take them out of a special flood hazard area, they no longer have that mandatory insurance purchase requirement. So that's what we're trying to get to, because those are our lower income areas. So right now they're paying a lot of money in insurance where the risk is not accurate, because once that the dike was recertified, we need the maps changed. And if we can get them done quicker than FEMA might take 20 years.
So then you're saying that the dollar amount is going to go to zero once that map gets changed?
Well, I'm not going to say it's not going to go to zero, but those people that are classified outside of a special flood hazard area no longer have a mandatory purchase requirement. I mean, we will still encourage them to purchase insurance because you need protection, but it won't be a mandatory purchase requirement. And also, because they would be removed from the special flood hazard area, the rate will automatically go down. The dollar amount?
Yeah, and there's also, and I'm sorry, did you want to talk about the dollar amount that would
Ms.
change?
Baker, did you want to say?
Yeah, Robert Norberg again. So going from high hazard to a low hazard, which is what they're talking about here, means that consumer no longer has to provide insurance if they have a loan, and then it's up to them whether they want to have it at all. So it could, in effect, take their insurance price to zero if they decide, hey, I've never had flooding, I've been here 20 years, now I don't have to have it for my loan, I can do what I want, and I don't choose to spend that money. But even if they did decide to keep some flood insurance, they could go from many thousands down to maximum right now for a low hazard zone is $578, okay, for 250,000 and 100,000 on contents. So they could go from thousands to 500 or 600 in a heartbeat.
So the CRS
So the
numbers
maps
alone.
would be very important.
Right.
The maps are part of the all CRS rating as well. So it's kind of a two-step flow here, yeah.
So that's for the Lake Okeechobee area. For the
Well, that's for
coastal-
any area.
Well, for the coastal area, some of these, are they going to move from high to low like this? How many categories of flood zones are we dealing with? Is it just you're in a high zone or you're a low zone?
There's a lot of different numbered flood zones, but basically it's, are you in high hazard, or are you low hazard?
So that's
Okay.
the rates, pretty much. You're high
Yeah, that's
hazard
how
or
the
low
rates are
hazard.
set.
And if you're low hazard, it's not mandatory. If you're high
Not
hazard,
mandatory
it
for
is.
your loan, it's just optional.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Baker?
I just wanted to, and staff put me back on the right rail if I go off. what I remember is that the maps are a critical part of the CRS rating. So it's not as though the ratings are going to go down and you not do the maps. We have to do the maps, I think, in order to support what the CRS rating is. Like, take the Glades, for example. If we don't correct and get FEMA to move along faster, our residents out there will continue to pay that higher rate, even though they shouldn't be. So we, I think, in essence, have to do the maps, period. And then that will help us with the CRS rating as well, because that's a major component.
Mr. Weiss, you have something
Yes,
to
if
say
I
on
may
the commission?
piggyback on what Administrator Baker has said, we have more than insurance at stake. As Commissioner Weiss indicated, there's life safety, there's construction requirements that come into play. You substantially renovate your home or you do a remodel, you need a re-roof, depending on the appraised value or the assessed value of your home. We can deny a permit, or we're required to deny a permit, because we need to know your finished floor is elevated enough. And I would pose the question without, I already know the answer. How many of those homes do you think that were affected by the 2017 map update have finished floors that are above the 10-foot BFE that was set by FEMA? Probably none of them.
I'm going to respond to that, because that was, I remember that specifically, that Kings Point in Delray Beach
Exactly.
was constructed in a way, I know Tommy's nodding his head, we lost people. People died in that rain event. Wasn't even, and it was because, and if you drive by Kings Point, it's incredible. The golf course is built high up, so everybody can see the golf course. And the buildings are down low. Now, this was constructed 20, 25, actually longer, 50 years ago, because I was doing work at their construction defects as an attorney. So 50 years ago, high up, and then and a man got out of his bed, and he was in water, and he died. So yes, this is important, and yes, the commissioners have stated that it's about life and limb. And in the hurricane conference that we had here in the county, I'll never forget what they said, the experts. The #1 killer in hurricanes is storm surge. So all this coastal area that we have, storm surge is the number one issue that results in death. So yes, we do have a big issue here. I think what is of concern, if I could just cut it right down, we need the maps, but can we get funding from FEMA or some federal government grant? Since this is a FEMA issue, Mr. Rutter, I know you're going to say so. Well, we should be able to get some money from our dear federal government that really is their responsibility to do these maps. Mr. Rutter, how can we get some money from the feds?
We will always have our eyes open for additional funding, like with the program we're doing right now with the DEM money. But the efforts that we're talking about here don't require ad valorem dollars. Enterprise funds through the building division are adequate to pay for this. Doug, representing as the floodplain manager for the county, furthering these efforts, has the ability to do that, and that's what we would recommend.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. Do we have some sort of approximate of how many homes could potentially go from high to low hazard areas?
For the coastal areas, there are 4,000 properties that had an increase of more than 4 feet. And then there's about 10,000 that had about 3 feet. So we don't expect to drop this down to 0. Because there's a 1 and 2 foot, but would be our guess about what the real model should say. But we've got the 4,000 to 10,000 who could come out of the zone.
So approximately 14,000?
14, yeah. Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments?
Well, hang on, 4 or 10. No, don't add it. It's either 4.
Okay, 4 to 10.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Maybe in between those two numbers. So that many residents we're hoping to help save from the high areas to low?
Yeah, just,
Okay, I'm back a little farther from where you guys were talking. We were looking up the numbers for the Glades. They're included in the 48,000 here. A lot of those were around the Herbert Hoover Dike. It also included areas of the acreage. You may be aware areas of the acreage were mapped as well at the same time. As far as this one, that's in the Paul Linton bar graph. This tells the story of the lagoon. This is the 52 maps that are being replaced effective December 20th.
So if you look at the bar graphs, 3 feet and higher add up to about 4,000, and then you've got the next graph, which is about 6,000, which is the 2 feet and higher. We expect that the actual surge and setup should be more on the order of something around 2 feet, not above 2 feet. So that's where they come with numbers between 4 and 10. So basically, about half, we'd cut them in half.
So to clarify, we're hoping to help, let's say approximately 10,000, give or take, people.
Yeah.
And also helping for future, is this going to help with future building codes, right?
Correct. So these base flood elevations are high up. So now if they come down, it's going to be more reasonable to rebuild and replace than it is when you're 2 or 3 feet higher.
I would respectfully suggest that a 3-foot or 4-foot base flood elevation increase is basically a death sentence for any building. If you're going to come in to get a re-roof from me, it's going to add up. We do a cumulative cost of improvements over time. We track all the permits that are issued in 10 years, and if any, over a 5-year period. Thank you, Jackie. But if we don't track that, then we don't get credit for it, and the point is, I've had the experience. I can share a story with a gentleman down on Bamboo Lane in South County, a little county pocket between Delray and Boynton Beach. Little pocket down there. He came in for a remodel, wanted to remodel, and I think I shared this with some of you folks, but basically we denied his permit. He wanted to re-roof. We said, you can't have it. Okay, and he's a nice guy. He's a dentist out of Chicago, and he wanted to get a re-roof. And I felt really bad, but it was nothing we could do. 2013, when I met the gentleman, now he built a new house. Okay, he gave up, he knocked down the old house, he built a brand new house, he raised up his seawall 2 foot down at the end of Bamboo Lane in South County, and basically he's building a castle. It's a beautiful castle, and he's been working on it for like 5 years, okay? It's a beautiful thing. And now he's finishing it, and the new maps are coming.
Oh, no.
And I think he's too low under the new maps.
Oh, no.
He's 2 foot too low. He's 2 foot too low. And he just put like $1 million into this thing. I mean, it's hardship, and I'm the guy breaking the bad news to people. Yes,
But
ma'am, I'm
you
sorry.
said that new maps are coming. I just asked this question, so do we not have what those new maps are going to look like yet?
You have them.
Oh, so we have them.
We have them.
So those are
We
what
have
these
the- we
numbers
have
are
the
based
maps.
on.
They're in GeoNav right now.
Well, you're talking as if you don't know. So the guy is now too low, according to the new maps?
I deal with thousands of properties. I don't know if he's too low.
2 feet, too low.
2 feet too low. Go
Thank you.
back. Okay, if there's no other questions or comments, do you have
We have some more slides. I'm sorry. Let's keep going. So I think we were at recommendations. What are you guys, options to consider?
There we go, recommendations.
Okay, so here are the things we want you guys to think about, or we're asking. Paul is looking. Paul is suggesting that folks are getting lowered BFE. We have the ability to say, no, we're not lowering your BFE. You have that ability as the commission. So you can say that. I'm not saying you need to say that. Paul is asking you to consider that. We're also looking for an overlay to make it higher, so we would maintain the current status quo. I don't know that we had a lot of problem other than the heel side of the primary frontal dune with the 2017 map update.
Yeah, because the problem with the modeling, the north end has some areas that were actually lower than previously, and we don't want people to come in and build with a new lower base flood elevation and be below their neighbors and become their floodplain. So we just want to keep the previous level and not.
I have a
go- not
question,
lower.
if I could, at this point, because I see we have a resilient officer here in the chamber as well. This is getting worse. Are we low? Are we going down in terms of our capability of staying above the sea level? and is parts of the land, not just Palm Beach County, but the whole peninsula of Florida. Is this something that's going to stay static in terms of the science, in terms of the science, Paul, of where our land is? In other words, by the time we finish these maps, is that dentist going to be even lower than it is today? This is what my concern is, because if we're moving, if our land is dropping, or the sea is rising, whichever way you look at it, then can we plan for that future that the scientists can tell us, the climate changers can plan for?
I think that is part of what we're doing. The watershed management plan takes into account 5 foot of sea level rise on top of the 100-year storm event.
Okay.
So, and it's a 1,000-page document. I can send you a link to that. If you can't sleep at night, you can look at it. But they've got all kinds of stuff, and I'm sorry, I wish Dr. Bletcher was able to stay and explain it to you. We can bring that back as a separate item when it's accepted by the state and the grant is complete.
I just
Maybe
wanna
that'd
be sure we're
something
planning
we'll share. But it's a pretty amazing document. You look at it, and I know Megan will agree. I mean, there's definitive
Megan,
proof
yeah.
that sea level is rising.
Right.
But I think we're fortunate that Palm Beach County's elevation is much higher. We're different than the West Coast, Paul. We have a continental shelf offshore. We don't have a shallow area to pick up wind-driven storm surge.
Okay.
So that makes us a little more resilient. So we are more resilient in a lot of ways. We're better off than a lot of places. But we need to map it.
I
We
just
need
wanted to be sure that
we need to protect
because I saw that we have the resilient
The
officer.
direct answer to your question is if the sea level goes up, then everything, the wave stuff are on top of that, so we will see an increase in the base flood elevation as the sea level rises if you redo the modeling.
But we are
But
planning
we
for
will
that.
get information from the current plan and from the vulnerability assessment. And then as we go, if we're working to update these maps, we should certainly include that in our understanding so that
Absolutely.
we're planning for a horizon. We cannot plan for the worst cases because that would just be, we'd be higher than what these are showing. So we just have to come up with something reasonable. And there's a whole science in that and whole deliberation that we'd have to talk to you guys about so that we come up with the right balance between protective but not overprotective.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to get in on that point. Go ahead. Thank you.
So obviously, we've already discussed, we want to do 3 outreach events. We've already spoken with the League of Cities. I think we're going to move forward on that to reach out to everybody in the community. I don't want anybody in the community in those 52 panels to not know that their flood zones are changing. That is our job, to make sure that they're there. And we're coordinating with the cities, so we make sure that they're on board too. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, insurance is only a part of it, but get insurance now. If you get your policy now, help me out, insurance people. If they get the policy now, they get the low rate, correct?
No, the rate's gone up.
Has it already gone up?
Well, the rates go up every year, but they get in at the current rate level, and then if it moves in future based on maps or whatever, they're in the glide
There's
path.
protection.
Yeah, so it'll be in the glide path, so
Insurance guy.
get your policy now. Okay,
Right.
sorry. So we're talking about the cooperative technical partner. I don't want to rehash all that, but we believe that, physical map revision is an automatic. We can do that if we want. It's expensive and time consuming. Cooperating technical partner would be a little bit easier, we think. Doesn't mean the maps won't be accurate. It means we'll be a partnership. And theoretically, there's grant money from FEMA for doing the mapping too.
Good.
So here's the CRS stuff that we were talking about earlier. You can see what the points we got for what things we did. Jackie, you want to speak to that?
Sure. So this chart here shows the current CRS rating that we have based on the 2021 verification. We are scheduled for a new verification visit this year in August, well, basically next month. And you'll see these are the activities that we have been participating in currently, and our current score is 2520, which is basically only 20 points above a class 6. So if you look at the next slide, here we go. in order to avoid retrograde to a Class 6, we have to make sure that we continue improving the activities that we do to improve our score. And the watershed management plan that is currently being reviewed by ISO is just a prerequisite for the Class 4 rating, which we mentioned before. And some of the other things that we have already started the process of, but we have not received points yet for, would be a substantial damage management plan that we are currently working on that could get us up to 140 points. And I need to point out that these point ranges that are here, these are the maximum potential points, but they will not, it's very rare for anyone to, if at all, for anyone to get full points. So these are just an idea of how we could potentially get there. But the lower substantial improvement threshold, we actually already do this, but we have to codify it in our ordinance. So those are pending activities not accredited. You can look at the next slide. Thanks. These are our historical, and you can see here the yellow is for this year. What we're seeing is that there is a plan for us to get there based on points. However, the prerequisite of the water management plan needs to be in place, and there's some other prerequisites that we need to make sure. But as far as the point range, we should be able to, there is a plan. CRS Max is here, Earl is here. He can speak to that as far as getting us up to into that point range for the Class 4, and then all we would need to do is satisfy the prerequisites.
But if I may, I want to point out what you see, the 2014 score, and then you see the 2017 score, something that's been a little bit frightening for me. The scores keep going down because they keep raising the bar and making it harder. And the point is, what happens, Jackie, when a retrograde occurs?
We lose that 5% insurance discount, and then every citizen in unincorporated county will receive a letter basically stating that because Palm Beach County did not maintain their CRS score, you now have to pay a higher insurance rate.
Not every citizen, every insurance customer.
Insurance.
Not in my district.
We don't want that letter.
No.
That's what they call a career ender.
These are all the prerequisites on the next couple of slides for a Class 4 prerequisite. But you'll see the different activities that are there under the stormwater management plan. It's a lot.
It is a very complicated program. That's why we hired a consultant to help us with it. They're helping both the building division and they're helping Mary. And it is complex. There's a lot of moving parts on it. So, we don't have a de facto expert other than Ms. Anderson.
So if we skip, these are some of the options that were given to us, and we don't have a report from the consultant. This was a meeting that we sat down with CRS Max, and we went through the manual, it's a very large manual, and tried to identify some of the things that we could possibly do to increase the score. Now, we already have some things that are in process to get us more comfortably into the Class 5 range, but here are some other things that, and it should be noted that a lot of these things, it's not just going to increase our score, but it's also going to increase resilience. And so we are looking to you for direction if you want to proceed with some of these things. One of them would be prohibiting fill in the special flood hazard areas. And with FEMA, that is kind of an all or nothing type of prohibition. You would have to completely prohibit all fill in the special flood hazard area in order to receive those points. I don't know that that would be doable, but it is something that we can consider. Other options would be an additional freeboard requirement on top of the there's already a 1-foot freeboard in the Florida Building Code. It would be something similar to what I think it's the city of West Palm Beach. They have an additional 1-foot freeboard over that, so there's 2 feet. So that's a potential area to get points. There's some language that we can add, and I don't think that we necessarily shouldn't add it. We should just go ahead and add it because we could get points for adding some land subsidence language. And ERM is the regulatory agency for the sand dunes, but we can possibly work with them so that we can improve the language so that we can get in another 20 points as far as prohibiting vehicular and pedestrian traffic on the sand dunes, and also requiring a non-conversion agreement for non-habitable structures and enclosures such as garages, sheds. Basically, that non-conversion agreement would be recorded in the public records. There's 3 options there. We could do one where we would require an inspection every year, or a random inspection, or no inspection required would be 30 points for no inspection required. So those are the options that we were presenting to you as far as things that we could possibly do. But as I mentioned before, we already have some activities that are in place to get us additional points. And I think Doug probably wants to speak a little bit more to the prohibiting fill.
Each of these things we're talking about will have to come back before you in Article 18, based on the direction we received from this commission. And I want to point out, I'm going to say it again, it's on this slide, insurance discounts should not be the only decision. We want to get as much discount as we can for our residents, but it's about life safety, it's about resilience. We want our people to be able to get back to work after an event. I mean, how many people will be homeless if we have a major flood event like what happened in Lee County? I mean, that's horrible. And 48% of the flooding was outside the special flood hazard area, is that correct? Or that was Harvey?
That was Harvey.
Yeah, Hurricane Harvey is a great textbook example. The flood zones alone didn't predict what was going on. So, that's what we're talking about. So it's about recovery time. How fast can we get people back to work, can get the economy working again? So here's an example when we start talking about prohibitions on fill. And I know it's not a popular topic, but it can be done. I mean, and that's the way things were built around here years ago. Up on stilts, like the one on the right, on the top, or the one on the top left is the one we're doing right now. Now, obviously, the old saying that dirt is cheap, it's dirt cheap, right? That's when you're bringing in dirt, that's why it's cheap. But it impacts your surrounding properties because every truckload of dirt that you bring in displaces water. And that water needs a place to go. I mean, this is the Everglades. We live in a beautiful place. Once upon a time, it was part of the Everglades. And the reality is, we've developed it, and we're building it, we're paving it. And so that water's got to go somewhere. And I don't know if Tommy wants to talk to that, but we've had some long discussions about it. But the reality is, fill is a problem for us. So if we can encourage development, we have regulations that limit the square footage that are in development. I've had discussions with Whitney and Lisa about lot coverage. That's always a big thing that we're dealing with this ULDC. I think those things will marry together here. It costs a little more to build a 2-story house, but you don't need as much fill.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a question on using the fill that we're talking about here. Would this be part of the area, and Commissioner Baxter, in your district, what is demucking?
Demucking is a separate thing. That's when they're removing deleterious materials. There's silt, clay, what's in the mud?
Peat.
Organic stuff in the soil, not suitable for a foundation, so that has to be excavated off. If it's on pile, demucking may not be necessary. Particularly in the Glades, a lot of those homes out there are built on piling, so they just core down and they put auger pile or they put friction pile. They drive down till they get to good soil and they support the building on it. So you don't have to dig all the muck out, although that's commonly what's done.
So if we were to put this prohibition, would that prohibit demucking?
No.
It's two different things.
Two different things.
They would be allowed to demuck and then replace it with soil to the same surface level. It's basically, dig out the muck, let's say there's 2 feet of muck. They
Right.
can take the 2 feet of muck and they put 2 feet of fill in. They can't put more than 2 feet, but they can just replace what they took out,
So then we are allowing fill, just,
just back to the original ground surface.
back to grade,
Back to grade, yeah.
but then we're saying you can't build at grade.
No, we're not saying that. We're saying the finished floors per whatever FEMA says they are, have to be elevated 2 or above, 1 foot above is our current freeboard that we have in there. It's in the Florida Building Code at the same time. So we have to elevate these things to 1 foot above whatever FEMA says. We're already doing 18 inches. If it's, say it's not in a special flood hazard area, I'm just changing lanes now. We already make people elevate to 18 inches above the ground of the road. Why do we do that? Because the roads flood, we know that. And then that's the way the system was designed for, since 1957. So,
My neighborhood was built that way, and it works. I mean, if.
And it works.
In any instance where we've had flooding, the streets flood, the houses are fine, because we're elevated. But are you now saying not to allow the 18 inches of fill that would do this?
no, I'm saying in a special, we're talking about in flood hazard areas right now, and limit what happens in some of those other areas. So, depending on what happens, limitations on fill. We're not presenting the limitations. We don't know what they're going to be. We're going to go back and try and craft some of that stuff. Whatever we decide has to go back into Article 18, and you have to approve it. I mean, this is not we're not asking for a free pass. We would never try that. Okay. We're trying to get guidance on what we should draft. But Article 18 has already been reviewed by the FEMA consultant, so whatever we decide to do, and we've talked about that, that they've crafted some model language, so you select one from Section A, Section B, or whatever, and we'll bring that back and have that conversation. But that's a longer conversation.
Longer than today.
Longer than today, if possible. Yeah.
Commissioner Baxter.
Do you have an area showing the special flood, like an aerial view of all the special flood map, the flood zones?
Yes.
Could you pull it up, please?
The best I have in here is probably, I'm going the wrong way, sorry.
And these are available, aren't they, these flood maps?
Yeah, they're on my GeoNav. I don't know if we can bring up my GeoNav on that. Who's driving?
Could somebody tell Commissioner, you can, I've seen them.
All right, let me go back there and drive. I'll be
Right. Okay. And this would show the flood maps as designated today.
As they currently exist, subsequent to the 2017 map.
Okay.
So this is my GeoNav. It's the current tool we all use.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think your area has any problem.
Can you hear me?
Yep, fine.
All right, so this is the tool. If you go to Google search, you can do My GeoNav, all one word, and right here, as we see how it's highlighted, sorry, My GeoNav, and you type in Palm Beach County, it'll take you a link to this map. You have to know how to operate this map. Again, GIS is working on a new tool that it will simplify this process. You just click the link, and you'll have a place to type in your address. But for example, let's go to, what's the address here? 300? 301 North Olive? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, this is not my office.
Probably underwater right now.
301 North Olive, right? There we go. That's us. Okay, so here we are. This is this building. We're on the 6th floor.
To clarify, I wanted of the whole, can we do the county? Where are the special flood areas located throughout the county? Not of an individual property?
Yeah, I'm going to say there is a map. You have to look at the...
All of the firm panels are available on our website. There's 1,200 firm panels. We do have, I believe, emergency management. Don't you guys have a map that was created by GIS that shows all?
Here they are. All the blue areas, but you got to get to the right scale. And there's also the panels are here. Let me show you that.
Did you say the blue areas?
Yeah, the blue areas are considered flood hazard areas. For example, grassy waters.
Your house?
That's grassy waters we're looking at. What's the flood zone? Says that grassy waters is a flood zone. And again, you can see it here on any property. You can see our maps. The current maps are here on, I got to go to the building division.
Could you continue scrolling over to on top of the acreage in Loxahatchee?
Sure.
And herein lies my biggest issue, is that this is going to negatively and I don't mean on a minor scale, a major scale, negatively impact my district, if you go trying to limit fill, brought in, we already have to get engineered drainage plans drawn, $5,000 before you can even put in an accessory structure of a garage, a shed, or anything. And now you want to tell my residents you can't bring in fill? I mean, they live by it.
I'm not telling them they can't build a garage. I'm just suggesting that if you fill more than 30% of your lot or 40% of your lot, you're detrimentally impacting. That water has to go somewhere.
We also are designed completely different. We have swales that go into canals that are supposed to drain. We are not like the rest of Palm Beach County, but yet what you're proposing most affects my district negatively and the impact on my residents, and not to mention Belglade, Pahokee, South Bay. You think they can afford any of those regulations that we've discussed?
Mr. Weiss, does the Lake Worth Drainage District, do they have, Tommy, come on up here. I want to talk to you.
that, Tommy?
Come on up here, Tommy. Okay, does your purpose of the Lake Worth Drainage, does that empty some of the water out of these other areas that are prone to flooding?
It doesn't affect areas like in Loxahatchee, the Indian Trail.
Does not?
It does. They're separate drainage districts, in essence. We basically cover from Okeechobee Boulevard down to Palm Beach County, Broward County line.
So how do the folks out in that area, if they don't have your purpose of draining, I know before a hurricane or something, the water is always emptied out of the swales, the canals and such like that. Well, what happens out in those areas that we don't have your jurisdiction to?
Well, it kind of depends.
If you know.
Right. No, it depends on the limitations of their infrastructure. In other words, what's the density of the canal network, what kind of operational controls. As you know, Mayor, we have not only the controls on our canals, but we help the communities manage the operation of the controls on their lake systems. So we coordinate that so they can get additional storage prior to a forecast rain event.
Oncoming storm or
So in other words, we're pulling water before an event through our system, out of their system. When the rain event comes, they now have more room.
To have
So,
this, right.
and that system was, originally designed in 1915. It was improved in the 70s. And so there's this legacy that we have that we're able to take advantage of that other areas may not have.
So, okay, thank you.
Tommy,
Go ahead, Commissioner Baxter.
The average drainage rate for Lake Worth Drainage District is about 1 inch a day?
Say again? I'm sorry.
The average drainage rate for your district is what?
Yeah, it's about 2 inches. Some areas have a little more, some areas have a little less.
So for the Indian Trail Improvement District, which provides the drainage out there, their combined peak and off-peak capacity is about 1 inch a day. So it is not capable of keeping up with a major storm. It's for recovering storage. So when you get that major storm, the swales fill up, the roads get overtopped, and when you get the 100-year event, it's pretty much water, except for the house pads are dry. Isaac was a good example of that. It took over 2 weeks for them to recover, but there was only one house lost because the house pads were high enough that they stayed dry. But the roads were pretty much impassable for almost a week.
Wow. Ms. Baker, I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah,
Well, I'll
part
get
of my
back to
gray
Ms.
hair came from Isaac's. And I learned a lot about the 220s and making sure that we were all talking to each other because we weren't. South Florida Water Management District has the say-so on all of it. But we have, like ITID, in order to dump into and to get more water out of ITID, we ended up having to work with South Florida Water Management District and the city of West Palm so that they could give them permission to dump into their particular area and then to pump it on out to sea. So it's a combination of things. So whenever there is a storm coming, I'm looking for South Florida Water Management District and I think it's the 298s to get together so that we can figure this out before the rain really hits us. And so we learned a lot with Isaacs. So ITID has a deficit, period. I mean, just a regular rain will flood them out. So those are things that we're going to need to continue to work upon as we continue to build those units in those particular areas.
Okay. Commissioner Baxter, go ahead.
And it was also one thing we were talking about when the cells were coming online, we were talking about looking at putting in infrastructure to help with the drainage. You're saying an inch per day, but I've seen it drain much faster than an inch per day. I mean, I live there. I live in this special flood zone. So to your point, maybe out further, not in each resident. And if we have flooded like we did before, we only lost one house, and everything is built even higher than back then. So you're talking about life safety. Where's the benefit? I mean, we've survived out there for decades without these regulations, and now you're saying, here you go?
Well, I'm not saying here we go. This is the beginning of discussion. Those pads benefit from the criteria that we had about being a foot and a half above the roads.
Not disputing that.
What? Yeah, I mean, so, and finding more dependable on-peak will help recover between storms to prevent you guys from getting a multiple storm flooding. So that's very important and something we should keep in mind. We need to balance the impact of those ownership in those lands with the fact that if every single lot filled out their entire lot, the existing houses, pads that are lower, are going to become their floodplain, and they could be impacted. So, and that's the challenge is the house pads on the order of 30%. That's kind of expected in development, but if it gets to be larger and larger, and people are filling their entire lot, then you're now having a lot affect other lots that are in that neighborhood.
What are the other options than limiting fill brought into their yards?
There are options on the foundation design.
No, well, who's currently building houses on stilts?
Well, they don't have to build them on stilts.
Or on a,
They can have stairs going into them, stem wall, put the parking underneath it. The problem is when you go beyond
you're
three.
talking about a home in the acreage and Belglade and all those areas?
I personally have built a number of homes in the acreage, so I'm familiar with the area, and I would tell you that I know what you're talking about. I live in the farms. It's not dissimilar there. We have similar issues in North County. There's similar issues in Homeland. I'm dealing with the guy next door. When they come in to build the new house, and it's the oldest house on the street, we get a complaint, if not weekly, to go out and deal with the drainage problems that are created by people filling. You know, they're clear cutting and they're filling lots, and if it's unregulated, that water has to go somewhere. And it's going to go into your yard, or it's going to go into the neighbor's yard.
couldn't
That's
we
what I'm
do
trying to protect.
a master drainage plan then of sorts out there that isn't going to then limit?
They were here for the first 4 hours of this meeting. Unfortunately, they were not able to stay after lunch, but the folks from, I misspoke. Jay Foy was contacted about whether he was able to be here today. Unfortunately, both he and the executive director, Burgess Hansen, I think is the executive director, they were both invited. They couldn't make it today. But Jay sent an email, and I can read the email to you, but his thing is concern about...
Great suggestion.
Go ahead.
This is a serious subject,
Yes.
a serious subject, and the hour is late.
Yes.
And it's about as clear as mud for some of us when it comes to insurance issues, right? But it is also very important to those residents who live in areas that are flood-prone with regard to building restrictions and regulations. So I'm going to ask the board if we could continue this conversation. I'd like to see those, and you know, today was a long day. We had a long morning. If we could continue to have on another day when we have those experts here, and I would also ask if any commissioner, and I know there's a number of us here, who would like to speak with you directly, so that we can understand a little bit deeper and look at these maps and figure it out, because we have to respond to our constituents as well, which is very important. That's what we do. That's our job. So I'm going to ask, and I have some lights on, I'm going to ask my board if we could continue this conversation, because you're going to need direction from us. And we're still not there yet. At least I don't think we are. So let me hear from our board members and see what we can do. Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. I would like to go ahead and give board direction on working with FEMA to become a partner on the maps, especially for Lake Okeechobee area, because that work has been done. As far as the CRS options, that's definitely something that needs to come back, and I think we need to have a real discussion on a more in-depth and private meeting first and getting into this, I very much agree with, but I would like to go ahead and give them direction, especially for the Lake Okeechobee maps.
Let me ask a question with regard to that. Would it be detrimental or at all prejudicial if we, or beneficial if we gave you direction as to that one issue? Or would you prefer that we do everything together, Mr. Rutter?
I'd say that direction would be appreciated because we would still need to come back to the board with an agenda item to spend the money. This just authorizes us to get it started, go find out, and bring the specifics back. Hear what you're saying on the second point, totally agree. This is very detailed and understand some of the points. I think there's availability. There's only 2 items scheduled for the August workshop. So if it was the board's pleasure, we could put it on that, focus, get dialed in very specifically to these points.
If we have a date and time certain, we could have the experts here. But I would also ask if you all could be available to personal commissioners, separate commissioners, to ask you questions about these separate issues. It would certainly be very helpful to us.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. In reference to the mapping, is there any time frame that we have to be within? Are we going to miss any advantages? I think our board direction is pretty clear for the mapping.
We have a limited amount of time on Article 18. But we can bring it forward theoretically without any controversial items in it, and then discuss it then and figure out what needs to happen. It does have to be adopted before December 20th.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Before December, okay.
All right.
Is that okay, commissioners, that we put everything in one package, and that the staff will be made available for any commissioner who wishes to get into the weeds, so to speak, on these issues? Because this is a very important issue. It goes beyond even insurance, but into building regulations. So with that, it's 3:31, and some of us have appointments out of the office. We could either recess or actually adjourn for the day, or we could proceed on to the next item. I think I'm looking at, I will have to leave now. And our capable and competent and professional vice mayor will take over in my stead while I'm gone. But can we go ahead to the next issue? Is that okay? Okay.
We all have to go to the SOEs.
Oh, so you're all going too? Oh, okay. Well, that takes care of that, because that starts at 4 o'clock, and it's 3:30.
Wendy's not going to start without us.
So there's going to be a lot of people there.
I was going to. I have to go get
Then
my kid.
we'll have to adjourn for the day, okay? We'll have to, Commissioner?
My question, how long do we think that would take? Could we come back?
Then there's a firefighter promotion at 6:30. So, and a lot of commissioners will maybe attending that. I mean, let's just, 5 minutes?
We have a,
We'll vote later, all right? Literally.
Madam Mayor, if we could.
Yes, sir? Mr. Von Laren is
On this
recognized.
particular item, this is an item that we are bringing back to the BCC related to an RFP for Palm-Tran paratransit services. We have a consultant that's with us today.
Very good.
Who won't be able to be with us in subsequent weeks, next week and thereafter. We can just maybe focus on some of the components that our consultant has brought to talk to you about in a few minutes to wrap that up. And then we can maybe continue this discussion next week at the meeting.
Very good. Let's
Okay?
go ahead and we'll talk.
So
you'll
if it's
talk
okay
fast.
with you, we'll move rather quickly to, on the PowerPoint that we have, to page 8. And it just advanced, and I'll advance it for you up here on the screen. So we wanted to talk to you a little bit about connection efficiency project and some of the components of what we're doing here with Palm-Tran. And this is in light of couple of pieces of direction the board gave us back with this RFP. One was to create some additional efficiencies in Palm Trend Connection to help reduce costs, and one was to look at multiple providers as being part of that RFP and that selection. So I'll ask Mr. Rischel if he'll kind of proceed from here for the next dozen or so
Sir,
slides.
you're recognized. Go right ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity to chat. So we're going to start on page 8 of the PowerPoint deck. Just to give you an update on where Palm Trend is right now with the Connection Efficiencies Project. As a reminder, this started back prior to COVID, and it's a multi-phase project. It was really looking at a couple of things that we identified that would help manage the growth of this program over time. Enhancing the eligibility assessment, and I'll get into some more detail on these. Looking at some options for additional service whenever there's peak demand. And then more broadly, looking at some service options in areas where you're going beyond what you're required to do by the federal government, by the ADA regulations. So next slide. Yes. So the first thing we looked at, and this actually happened back in 2020 and has been being worked on since, was we redesigned the eligibility process. So for Palm Trend Connection, as you probably remember, it's a service that's supposed to be for folks with disabilities who can't use your accessible regular bus system, the fixed route system. So it's supposed to be eligibility based on need, not based on want. The eligibility process was rather permissive. It's been redesigned and it's been quite successful. There, you can see from the graph, now that staff are working with people, educating them about what the system is, what it's for, and really doing more of a needs test. The rate of applications has gone down, and the number of people being eligible for the program is reduced because we've just discovered that people who were applying for it didn't need it. So this is something that hasn't had a big impact on demand yet, but this is something that is going to go a long way to lower your growth curve years into the future. So that was the first process, and that has been done. The second thing that we took a look at was there were some issues where demand would hit peaks and there wasn't fleet available to deliver the service. So we looked at what could we do to add capacity. And the non-ADA service alternatives on slide 10, there were two things that have been implemented as a pilot. There was a program run by a company called USERV and Lyft, which you're probably familiar with. Both of these are on-call options that were available to passengers, both passengers with disabilities and passengers without, that they could opt into using instead of riding Palm Trend Connection. And the idea was that these are more flexible services, they're less expensive per trip, and would these have the impact of absorbing some of this excess demand and also reducing the cost of services.
Sir, I'm going to interrupt you at this point.
I'm sorry?
Commissioner Weiss would like to ask a question.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, did you just say for people that didn't have disabilities using Palm
No, I'm
Trend?
sorry. If I said that, I misspoke.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
What I meant was ambulatory and folks who have mobility devices. So the people who are ambulatory who can walk, they ride the Lyft service. But what we found with this is that the pilots have both been successful. The price per trip is lower in both counts, with USERV saving about a little over $12 a trip, and with Lyft saving about $31 per trip. So these are potentially significant cost savings that the program can achieve. For the next slide, we're looking at where is Palm Trend Connection in terms of costs. And these are peers that we have looked at since I've been working with you folks, which has been now about 5 or 6 years. And your price per hour is pretty good. A lot of that, frankly, is because your current contract is kind of stale. We're at the end of what was a 10-year contract, so this price is older. But I know you just went through an RFP process, and there's been some discussion about the prices that came in. And you can see from this graph what others are paying per hour. Currently, you're getting a pretty good deal. In the future, prices are going up a little bit. That's because post-COVID, prices have just increased significantly. With the next slide, what we wanted to emphasize here is that While we've talked a lot about in the past the TD program, the DOS program, the majority of the costs with connection efficiency, or I'm sorry, with the connection program is what we label as our ADA service. So that's the service that we're required to do under federal law. But in Palm Beach County, you folks have been very kind and generous to your residents, and you provide some services beyond that, and it's all lumped under the category of ADA. So that is the biggest portion of service. So that's what we've been looking at in terms of what could we do to manage some of those costs going forward. Which leads us to our challenges and opportunities that we see with the CEP. Next slide. So when we looked at the alternative services that were piloted, the U-Serve and the Lyft services, while those were clearly a success in terms of cost per trip savings, we wanted to look to see how much can we really benefit from those going forward? How much can we scale that up as we go forward? And as we've analyzed who's using the services and who chose to use them and who didn't choose to use them, we've discovered that the fact, it's ironic, the fact that we've gotten tighter on terms of the folks with disabilities using this service, it makes it less attractive, or some of the passengers are less able to shift over to this. So the estimate is that about 15% of the eligible population using Connection can possibly move over to use these additional services. With the pilot, we're currently at about 8%, so we have the potential to double that, but it's not likely to be a huge area of additional cost improvement. So when we've looked at what to do with the other aspects of the service, there are a number of challenges we face that we've talked about before. As I mentioned, one of the things that makes this county unique is that policy decisions have been made here that are very friendly to your customers or to your residents, where you provide connection service throughout the county. And we treat it the same everywhere. We also provide service, or you also provide service for TD passengers above what the state funds, and that's funded locally. There have also been some discussions about some schools who've been using the Connection program and the relationship with those. So PalmTrans has been very accommodating and very customer friendly. Unfortunately, that costs money. So we're looking at what are some things that we could do to look at different ways to still provide these services. So our proposal would be what we're preliminarily calling Connection Plus. And if you go to the next slide with the map, kind of explain to you what we're talking about here. So the map on the left is what is currently happening now. Connection serves all of the county. You can see on the map there's the bus lines are kind of the reddish small lines. The pink area around them, that's the area that federal law requires you to provide paratransit service now. So that's what you have to do under federal law. The darker kind of purple color is an expansion of that core ADA area that was made 15 years or so ago. What we're looking at is creating a new brand of service that serves the area outside of the federally required area, but doesn't do it as ADA paratransit. And you wonder, is this just semantics? What does this mean? If we label it ADA paratransit, then it has all of the federal requirements that go along with ADA paratransit. You're only required to provide ADA paratransit in a fairly small area. So while we still want to serve the entire county, we don't want to use that label on it, and it gives staff a lot more flexibility to do things more creative and more efficient. So the Connection Plus service area would be the slide on the right, or I'm sorry, the picture on the right of the slide, where you can see the core area in pink, and the area that's blue would be the rest of the county that would be served with the Connection Plus program.
That's good.
And with the next slide, what is Connection Plus? What does that mean? Well, it would really free up staff to be flexible to further expand the Uber, Lyft, taxi, and other modes of service. It would be a door-to-door service, the same as people are getting now. It would have the same fare that people are getting charged now, and it would have a number of different options for both ambulatory and non-ambulatory people. So it would feel very similar to what people are getting, but behind the scenes, or kind of under the hood, there's going to be flexibility that staff doesn't have now, since we're labeling this as all ADA paratransit. And with the next slide, we'll talk about what that means. So the components of the Connection Plus program: if it's ADA paratransit, there are rules about trip negotiation when people call in for a time. We have to accept the rides within plus or minus so many minutes. So we wouldn't have that same restriction. We have restrictions on grouping trips together. There are restrictions on pickup windows, how wide they have to be or how flexible they can be. There are restrictions on how long people can be on a vehicle for ADA paratransit. You can't look at any trip purpose whenever you're making efficiency and grouping decisions under ADA paratransit. For Connection Plus, you could. You actually could entertain different fares should you want to do that in the future. We're not recommending that, but that would be possible since it was not being labeled as ADA paratransit. And then it would also allow staff to do some prioritization. Should resources be tight, or should you want to give certain trips higher priority over other trips during busy periods? You could do that with Connection Plus, whereas you can't do that for ADA paratransit. So what it really does is it gives staff flexibility to look at more creative ways to group trips, schedule trips, and manage the system more efficiently rather than being locked into each individual trip request. It's a huge change in how they would design and manage the service.
So, oh, sorry, go ahead, David.
I would just say, and the goal is to be able to continue to provide service throughout the county and make sure that you're meeting your ADA requirements, which is a hard federal requirement, and then still providing some level of service to the rest of the county.
So, Madam Mayor and Vice Mayor Commissioners, we won't get into some of these today. We can pause this presentation right now and come back next week to kind of dive into some of the highlights of the new additions on the RFP, if you would like to do that. But we just wanted to make sure that since David was here with us today and he's been working on some of these pieces with us, that we had an opportunity for him to present that, and then you can digest that a little bit and we can follow back up.
Commissioner Woodward, you're recognized.
Thank you. I just had two quick questions. One on the page 14, using the non-ADA service alternatives.
Yes.
If we were to look at this other option with the Connections Plus, would this remain as part of our ADA within the 3/4 of a mile? Or is this something that we would just stick with our regular paratransit that we have?
You could do both.
Okay.
This is something that we would want to expand with the Connection Plus. This is an option we'd want to make available to passengers throughout the county, where, to the extent it was possible.
And you did have on here, not able. One of the reasons for not able is refused or opted out. Is that really not able?
That's because currently with ADA paratransit, we can't force passengers to take some different service. We can offer it to them, but we can't make them take it.
Well, so I'm just wondering if the percentage would potentially be very different outside of the ADA then. If if they are allowed to refuse because of ADA, what would that percentage maybe, do you know what that percentage would look like outside of that?
We haven't worked that out yet, but you are correct.
Okay.
That if the other areas were no longer designated ADA, then it would be more Palm-Trans choice than the passenger's choice. So it could potentially expand.
And you did say same fare. What is the fare for paratransit right now?
$3.50. $3.50 per one way.
And we would want to put that in the new area, the Connections Plus, keep that $3.50?
Well, we would, at the moment, yes, but that is certainly an option for discussion amongst the board at a later date if there are needs for us, and that was part of some of the discussions on the fares and whether we keep it the same or have the option to expand, that cost and that price.
Okay, I look forward to that discussion.
Where it ties into the Connection Plus is that if this were still ADA paratransit, we would not even have the option to consider it.
Very good, thank you. That was pretty fast. You will not be available, is that correct? Todd,
David
at
will
the
not,
next
but we
meeting?
will be here.
Okay, but you can offer any questions that we may have at a later date that you could give to individual commissioners as we continue this conversation. Okay, very good. If there are any other comments at this time? Ms. Baker?
After they wrap up.
Okay, you're excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you, sir.
I need approval from the board, the Florida Housing Finance Corporation for local government verification that our development is consistent with zoning and land use regulations, a form that we have to sign, and it is for Drexel Senior Apartments that you've already given conceptual approval. However, the form that we need to sign in order to send to the state requires that the project is in compliance with our rules and zoning and land use regulations. There's a couple of things that this particular development needs to provide to us before we can sign off on such form. And so what I'm asking is that the board gives me the authority, once they submit the appropriate documentation, that the administrator or my designee could sign off on that form. This will keep them in line for consideration for a 4% tax credit. And the shortcoming of it is that the application must be submitted by July 16th. Our next board meeting is the 17th. But we will not sign off on it until we get the appropriate documentation, and I have had discussions with the representative Drexel.
Very good. Thank you. Commissioner Weiss?
Make such a motion.
Second.
And we have a second by Commissioner Bernard. All those for, anybody opposes? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. All right, with that, Commissioner Woodward.
Just one real quick. I need to appoint Rusty Lee to the EMS Advisory Board.
And we don't need to have a vote on that. So everybody stay safe. It was a long day. We are officially adjourned at this time. Thank you.